we are excited tonight, Tracy and I are, to introduce you to our new president, Dr. Barrett. Dr. Barrett's coming from Maine, Eastern Maine, at Community College. He's been a president there, and we're so excited to have him. He's already made such a positive impact on us, and we know that you're going to feel that impact. So, Dr. Barrett, would you come and talk to us?
I will be brief. Just a little bit about myself and then thanking you. Some of you probably read that I was on the Itchnatuckney for 2.5 weeks. And 5 minutes in, somebody, because Mike Lee, the director of our foundation, I was homeless for a couple of weeks until we finalized our house in Lake City. So I came early before my family, and where Mike's cabin is, beautiful cabin and so forth. He said, we have a few snakes, don't worry about it, they're all water snakes. Within 5 minutes of him there with his wife, there was a water moccasin that was this big, and I didn't move. I said, I'm not gonna run away and act like I'm from away. So the story is already, Mike took a cinder block and hit it 3 times over the head with a cinder block, but now it's 30 times already, and 10 years from now, it'll be that he grabbed it by his head and bit his head off. So thank you. It's a wonderful school. I felt so good coming here in the interview, and my past 3 weeks, it's been such a great experience in what takes place at this institution. I have wonderful vice presidents, I have wonderful faculty, wonderful staff, and wonderful students. And to me, it's all about students and student success. And I've been doing this for 29 years, and the reason why I come back every day of my life is to try to transform and help a student's life. We can't help every one of them, and we're not going to be able to do that, but if we can make a difference. Somebody mentioned to me in our EMS fire science program when I implemented about 5 years ago in Maine, the impact I had on people's lives. And I said, not me, it's the impact of our faculty and our staff that did that, but how many people we helped through the ages. So, and adjunct faculty, I know are a core component of this institution and institutions across the United States. And you are valued by me and valued by this institution. And your expertise in areas that you're working, some of you full-time, some of you are just doing this part-time as a retiree, but your value and your knowledge is so important to these students that we're trying to help educate. So I'm excited about the future of this campus. Dr. Hull is a legend, and I'm replacing a legend, and my hope is to take this place to another level. 2 of the priorities is the student retention and success of our students, but also as our facilities. All of you are doing so much in our classrooms, but our classrooms need to be updated, especially our laboratories. And the Lusty Center, we're really working on very hard. The goal is to have that as a really public safety institute in the next year, and really we're working very hard with the vice presidents. But really the science labs, building number 9, as I toured that last week, and I brought Mike Lee there today about trying to do some donations. We really need to look at that building and what we need to do. So I'm excited. You're doing great things without facilities, but it'll be helpful in the future to help students with some of the state-of-the-art issues. So I'm really excited, and I'll entertain any questions before I leave to go for dinner. But tomorrow we start, 7:45. I'll be out there greeting students for their first day. So any questions about me or any comments? We are going to be having, the VPs and I talked a lot about the next strategic plan of the institution, because our current strategic plan ends this year, and we really want this to be open, and we're going to have lots of forums and so forth with people's ideas and so forth, and I really would like the adjuncts to be part of our family. So thank you so much for what you do. Have a great year. Now I'm bore you to death.
Thanks. I would like to echo what Dr. Barrett and Brian have said to you this evening. We do so appreciate all that you do for our students, and you are an important part of this college and helping our students succeed. So thank you for all that you do. I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. I want to make sure that everyone in here received a contract. If you teach under the Occupational Programs Division, you should have received a contract that has yellow highlights on it. If you did not, please let us know so we can get one to you to complete. And then if you teach in the Liberal Arts and Sciences division, you will have one without highlights on it, just so we can, that way we know they go back to the proper division offices for processing. So just please let us know if you have not received those. I also want to make sure that you received a faculty handbook. This is the same handbook that our full-time faculty receive. It's important that you know the same things that they know, because you are an integral part of what we do here. And then there were also 2 handouts. One of them had a list of statements on it that you should make sure are included in your syllabi that you hand out to students. And the other one is a list of the pay periods. And that is very important to those of you who turn in hourly timesheets, to make sure that you know when to turn your timesheets in, and so they get processed in a way that you get paid on time. So it's very important that for some of you more than others, that you have that sheet because of that column of dates for deadlines. Okay, so is everyone good, or do we need to get some things out to you? Okay, we have 2 over here. Brian, could you maybe get books? We've got some over here. All right, let's start with, first of all, with faculty books. Who needs a faculty handbook? Raise your hand high so we can get those to you. If you need a faculty book, and they probably need the handouts also, I'm sure, if they. Thank you, thank you.
Are the faculty books new?
Yes, that's this year's, yes, and we are going to make sure that you have those annually. So, because it does change, things do change. A lot of it stays the same, but there are subtle changes. Yeah. There you go. All right, are we settled now? All right, I'm going to ask now, contracts, okay? Raise your hands high if you need a contract to complete. And we'll just collect those at the end to minimize folks moving around as we get started formally. Okay? Okay, and now Sandy, for your next act, because I know you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, I'm going to ask Sandy Tomlinson to come and share Grades First with you. This is a new software package the college is implementing, and we want to make sure that you're aware of it. So, Miss Sandy Tomlinson.
Good evening. We're really excited about our new Grades First early alert and retention system that we have implemented. It will be rolled out, hopefully tomorrow, in production, and what that means is that it is going to be available for everyone on campus. Right now we're in training mode. It's brand new to the college. It will be available to everyone in the fall. It's really important that all of the adjuncts know this, because you're going to see the same thing that our faculty sees, and it's such a huge part of our campus with the courses that you teach, and it's very important that you get the same message, because you're going to be helping make our students successful, and we want to make sure that your students have the same opportunities that every other student has. So, with that, I'll ask Brian for the shift gears. What you're going to see is very small to start off with, but it's progress reporting campaigns that we're going to do. And what we are planning on doing is first time in college, which are the first time in college students. Obviously, that will be one cohort, and then we were also awarded a TRIO grant, so we will be having a TRIO eligible student campaign. So those are the 2 different titles that you will see, and I wanted you to be familiar with that to understand why we're doing it. The TRIO grant that we're doing covers a cohort for first-generation college students, low-income students, and students with disabilities or veterans with disabilities. They won't be identified that way. You'll just see TRIO students. Our cohort is the one that we're going to be having to report on federally. So although we have these 2 cohorts to do progress monitoring, there's still a lot of other students that will need to have some services and early alerts. And we will also take care of those students, but these are the 2 campaigns that we're going to begin with and send out to everyone. Okay. What's going to happen is we're going to put together in the system who these first-time in college students are and who these TRIO grant students are, and we'll push out a campaign. And what we're going to do, I'm making sure, you're going to get an email to your FGC email, and it's going to say exactly what this does, and I can't memorize it, but it's basically saying this is a required progress report for TRIO eligible or FTIC students, and please respond by the expiration date in order to help advisors intervene and meet with those students. So basically, we're going to push this out in your email, and I'm going to get Brian to click to the next one. You get this email. I'm sorry, can you go back one? That was my fault. At the very bottom, one more that way. The first blue line you see here, it says click here to begin entering student feedback. That's all you have to do. You're in your email, you click there, and now you can turn it. That's all you have to do, and it's going to take you directly into Grades First. It's going to give you a roster, and it's only going to give you the students who are first time in college right now and TRIO. So all you have to do, and I know it's kind of small, but you'll go in and it is as simple as 3 clicks and submit. You click on, after you've clicked that first time to get there, you're going to see your roster and there's going to be a yes or no under the category that says at risk. You click yes or no. Now if you have a lot of students and only, say you have 20 students, only one person's at risk, you can click that one person at risk, and there's even a button down here that says mark everybody not at risk. It's that simple. The second or the third click you're going to have is the category that says why, the reason they're at risk. And there's a drop-down box. You click, and we've already populated it with failed tests, attendance problems, thank you, participation, behavior. So there's some basic things there for you, and at that point, you're finished. That's the minimum you can do. That's all we're asking you to do, and then you would submit. Now, there's other categories you can also add. If you want to put what their current grade is, you can. If you want to tell me how many days they're absent, if you want to tell us why they're having a problem, you can, Susie might have had a car wreck, and you're really concerned for them because they're falling behind, but they have a very legitimate problem, and we need to find a way to help that student. So you can give us comments and then submit. There's a lot of things you can do, but all we're really asking right now is to give us the student who is at risk, the reason why, and let us try to help them with support services. Okay. So when you're looking at Grades First instructor, as an instructor, if you are really tech savvy and you want to be gung-ho, once this is rolled out, all your courses are there for you. You can do attendance there, you can do assignments there and track them, and reports. And I'm not going to go into all of that. We're going to be sending out some training for you. You certainly, once this site is out there, you're going to be able to look at this. It is an excellent tool. It's really powerful. It's a very large program. We're just doing one tiny portion in the fall, and that's the progress reports that we're going to be sending out. And we're going to do that. I think this is the last slide. No. Okay. So we're going to push these out the 3rd week of the semester, the 8th week of the semester, and then the 12th or 13th week. So you'll see 3 things, 3 campaigns this semester, and you're only going to have to respond to those people that are at risk. You're not telling us about everybody. You're only telling us at risk. With that said, we do want to serve everyone, and you'll see once you get into the site and you get your login, you actually can log in and you can generate, it's just a click, and you get the same screen to generate a progress report on, say, Joe. Joe is not a first time in college or a TRIO student, but he's having some real struggles in your class, so you can create a progress monitoring to come to us, and we will offer them the same services. We'll contact them, we'll try to hook them up with some academic tutoring, peer mentoring if that's the problem, if they're having transportation, or maybe they're having some childcare problems. Not that we can solve everybody's problem, but we're going to try very hard to find services or support that we can help them with. So please look in your emails, be looking for the word Grades First and the campaign. Those are the words I want you to remember and participate. It'll be a really short turnaround of about 5 days when we do these campaigns, because we need to immediately get in touch with students who are struggling before they become a failure. We do not want that. We want them to be successful. Thank you.
Can we access Grades First from the FGC?
At the moment, no, we can't access it yet. It's in training mode. They'll put it to production. We use this FGC emails, but eventually we probably will link it on the website. But right this minute, that's taking you straight to their site. When I send you your information with your logons, it's going to tell you how to access the actual Grades First site. It's very easy. It's a very easy one. We'll just send you a link, and then you can click and go. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. We're excited about how this is going to help us help students be successful. The next thing I'd like to share with you tonight, it's a bigger picture, it's a broader picture of the college. The Florida college system has moved into what is known as performance-based funding. And some of you who work in our school districts may be familiar with this in terms of grading and having school grades and formulas for which those school grades are calculated. This has now, in its own form, moved into higher education. And just to give you a little bit of history on how this evolved, we had initially 10 indicators that colleges were going to be evaluated on. By the time it made its way through the legislative process, it was narrowed to 4. Those 4 indicators are job placement or transfer to a university or going for a higher degree. Since we offer baccalaureate degrees here at Florida Gateway, that would count as transfer. Also, retention of students, which is why you're seeing an even greater push from us this evening, and we're sharing information about how we can help students be successful. And that goes right into completion. Completion is, if you're retaining them, we want them to complete. That's the part B to that. And then the last indicator is entry-level wages. And that's something that we don't have a lot of control over here. We'll do the best that we can, but we certainly can influence the first 3. So I would like for you to keep that in mind as you are reaching out to students this term and helping them be successful. You see them struggle. We are not saying that we don't want to have a standard or that we're lowering our standards. We're going to maintain our standards. But we want to do what we can to help these students be successful at whatever it is that they are seeking to attain, whether it's a bachelor's degree, it is a certificate, an associate's degree. I just want to give you a little background also on where Florida Gateway stands currently in this ranking. The other part to how this is being set up is there is a gold, silver, and bronze level for the colleges to fall into in terms of categories. There are 7 institutions that have been identified as gold level. Florida Gateway College falls into the larger part, the middle part, which is the silver category, and then there are 5 institutions that are in the bronze category. And while that doesn't sound so bad on the surface, the 5 institutions that are on the bottom or in the bronze category will lose some of their base funding. So that has a huge implication for them. They can do a plan. They can put that forward, and if they are working to achieve whatever areas they're weak in, and it's likely all of them, at least 3 of them, to be in that bronze group, then they can work to have their base funding re-implemented, and they won't lose it, but there's a very good likelihood that they can. What they are saying to us is there's the funding that they do lose will be reallocated to the gold and the silver groups. So you can see where that's huge. That is huge. There's also additional funding that the legislature has set aside that will be going out to those institutions that fall in the gold and the silver categories. So it's something we are definitely wanting to emphasize. We want to be in that gold group, obviously. I will tell you initially, when the 10 indicators were on the table, Florida Gateway College was in the gold group. We were number 7. But when they adjusted and they went to the 4 performance indicators that were selected, we dropped down into the silver. We went from 7 to 12. So it is very attainable for us. We can do this. We will have to work together as an institution and as faculty and staff to make sure that our students are getting what they need, that we are retaining them, and that they're being successful, and they're either going for a higher degree once they complete here, or they're going to work in the field in which they were trained. So big news, really, for the Florida college system. You have a question?
Yeah. You can identify those programs that by nature, when you go out and finish. They have good salary. And I was thinking of nursing. By just having nursing and really doing a great job with it, you know, nurses get $70,000 a year with just an AM, associates or bachelors. So.
And actually, that's one of our higher performing areas. You're right on target with those statements. Our performance was 6 out of 10. And a lot of that, in terms of entry-level wages, and a lot of that comes from the fact that our allied health programs, nursing, physical therapy assistant, those are high-paying jobs in this region, and that's very important to us and to our students. Another area that we did very well on is retention, but we've got to keep that up. Just like the school districts have to keep attaining in order to maintain their level, we have our baseline, we're going to have to keep attaining. So we can't rest on our laurels. We're going to have to work on this and continue for it to be a focus. We can't say, we've got retention, you know, what we do, but we've got to keep working on it. We can't let it slide. One of the areas, well, the 2 areas that we were weakest in, job placement. We can't control what the job opportunities are in our region. However, transferring on to a higher degree level is something we can encourage our students to do. So that's an area that we can work on. We are also focusing on having job placement specialists who will be coming on board here at the college to help individuals find jobs. So we're on this. We know that we will have your support, and we're very excited about it. The next thing I'd like to share with you is going right back to one of those performance indicators, and that's retention. Please make sure that you work with Sandy with Grades First, that you support the students. You know, although it may be a little uncomfortable for them to, you know, be approached by Sandy and her staff, I think that once they realize the help and support that they're going to be provided, it's going to be a really good thing. But please follow up with your students if they're not performing well, if they're not coming to class, if you don't see them logging in. Those are important indicators right out of the gate that something may not be right and that we need to follow up on it. Okay? I would also like to talk with you about assessing students and helping them and being successful and what your success rates are. Giving students constant feedback, and not just summative type feedback with a midterm and a final and maybe a couple of quizzes, but ongoing feedback is very, very important. One of the major things that we hear from students is, I don't know, you know, exactly where I stand. They want to know, and it doesn't have to be in a formal manner. There are lots of different ways that you can determine if a student read and the assigned chapters that they need in order to come in and participate in class. There are ways that we can determine if a student is engaged in the classroom based on how interactive they are with you. You can put questions in your PowerPoint, and it could be at key points during the lecture, and just kind of do an overall, you know, have a multiple choice question, and how many, you know, choose answer A or B or C or whatever. Just engage them, and it, you know, point out, okay, well, everybody missed this question. You might want to go back and look at that part of the chapter because it's something that we didn't get. You may also want to reflect on your own instruction. What can I do to cover that material again? We're looking to help them be successful and give them lots of feedback, and that's very important. Class rosters. Those of you who have been here a while know that class rosters are important in a lot of ways. First of all, when they go out from the registrar's office, it is important for you to get them back within 5 days of receipt, okay? Because we need to make sure that students who are sitting in your class have paid for their class, they're registered for their class, and that they don't have any issues. You don't want students sitting in your classroom or in your online roster who have not done what they need to do in terms of being registered and had their financial aid applied, paid for their classes, etc. If you have someone who is on your class roster and you never hear from them, you need to make sure that you circle them on your roster and you turn them in, okay? Turn in that roster and sign it and date it. It's important that we know who never attended, because we cannot charge students for a course they never attended. Well, Tracy, what constitutes online attendance? You should have, if you teach online, you should have like a little mini quiz or some sort of way that the students come in and you require the students to engage in activity in your class. It may be an online discussion. It could be, like I said, having a very short quiz about the syllabus, but some way for them to let you know, hey, I'm here. I'm engaged and I know that I'm enrolled in this class. If you have individuals who contact you and say, well, I'm supposed to be in here, or if they're sitting in class and that first day or night you call roll and they're sitting and they say, hey, I should be on that list, I should be on the roster, send them to the registrar's office, send them to and financial aid. They need to follow up on why their name is not appearing on Banner and Blackboard, okay? The part 2 to this is, please don't forget, as you get through the midterm, believe it or not, there are students who are dropped as far as 60 days out. And so suddenly, maybe you were going in and posting grades and they're in your list, and then you go to put in a grade and they're suddenly gone. Do not continue to engage those students in your class, whether it's on campus or online. Communicate with them immediately that they need to follow up for some reason. Their name is no longer on your roster and in Blackboard. Okay, and Blackboard is up to date, it's minute to minute. Banner is as well, so you're getting constant feedback, and I encourage you, please don't wait until the end of the term and just go put your grades in, because that is exactly the time that you will find that you'll have a student sitting in your class that should not have been there from a long time back, and then they're looking at you and saying, well, I did all my work, where's my grade? I want my grade. So then that brings up a whole set of issues. They're paying for the course, making sure that we're addressing FTE reporting. So there's a whole ripple effect by having students in your class that should not be in there. And if you have any questions about this, please check with Brian's area, Paula Gavin, and in occupational programs, the department executive directors and directors. Those are the folks that you want to reach out to. Okay? Any questions on that? That's pretty detailed, I know. I'm throwing a lot at you. Yes?
So for the online classes, within 5 days of tomorrow, 5 weekdays.
After DropAdd, I did not say that correctly. I apologize. After DropAdd, this whole week, students can add and drop classes. But after that, rosters will go out, and when you receive those, 5 days from the date that you receive the roster, you should check your attendance, circle those who never attended, and get it back to the registrar's office. Brian, did you want them going through your office, or do you have them going directly to the registrar? Directly to the registrar, okay?
So we will not be doing any graded assessments until after DropAdd is complete?
You can. The students, if they add, they have to catch up.
Yeah, okay, and then, but we could actually put an announcement that says you have to complete XYZ quiz, or I'm going to mark you as absent.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to
as not attended.
Drop you from this course.
Yes. Yes, and I would encourage you to be that direct, because there are some, and particularly those who've never taken an online course before, they think it's very open. They can just check in, and it may be 2 weeks into the course, and they'll be in for a big surprise when their name is not on or the course is not in there when they log into Banner. Good questions. Yes.
A comment to help. What I do is I tell them to introduce themselves.
I'm sorry,
What I tell them to do is introduce themselves, you know.
In an online?
Yeah.
Like a discussion board?
In the discussion board, I create a forum, it says introduce yourself to your classmates, and then they don't, I mean, you don't want to tell them, you know, you just want to tell them general introduction of yourself. They may want to say who they are, what they do. I mean, usually my students, they put all their hobbies there, their age, where they're from.
And you know they're engaged at that point.
And throughout the class, they engage with each other, they find each other from high school, this and that. It becomes more like a family.
Yes?
In the online shell for each course, under discussion boards, there's already created a discussion board forum that says introduce yourselves to your colleagues. I think is how it reads. And you can
Okay.
make an announcement for that.
So you had that option. You can do a quiz, just something to constitute attendance and engagement, because that is the same as them walking into a traditional classroom and answering here when the roll is called. Okay? Another thing related to grades and making sure that you are posting things on time, iGrades. You want to make sure that if you are considering giving students an I grade for the semester, they really should be about 75 to 80% done with the course. They have 3 weeks into the next term to finish the course. So if they're 50% behind, 75% behind, they're going to have a very difficult time achieving a passing grade in the course. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And that's tough for you to say to a student, I'm sorry, but you know, you're going to have to, you know, here's your timeline to get things done, and that's what, you know, you're going to have to meet. But if there's extenuating circumstances, maybe a car accident, a serious illness, something that happens where they are delayed, and you, you know, work with them and you feel like they can achieve the completion of the course within the 3 weeks of the next term, by all means, we want you to work with them. We want to retain them and help them be successful. But sometimes that's just not possible for lots of different reasons. And sometimes we have to make those tough decisions. But please, please do not issue iGrades unless they are really about 75 to 80% done. If you're not sure, you can confer with your executive director, vice president. We're happy to let you all, you know, bounce things off of us, and we can kind of help you make a decision. Critical dates calendar is also posted on the college's website. There are some important dates on that particular calendar that you may want to include in your syllabus, so please make sure that you review those dates and publish them, because a lot of times students don't see that critical dates calendar, but they are very connected to the syllabus that you put in their hand. So I would pull things from the critical dates calendar and put them out there for them to go to. You want to make sure that you have an established way to communicate with students if you have to cancel class. Do that early. If there is something that comes up, you know, personally, life happens, let your students know out of the gate. This is, you know, you need to check the Blackboard announcements before you come to class, because that's how I'm going to let you know if I have an emergency and have to cancel class. And just whatever it is, establish it early, because you don't want students to get upset with you because maybe they drove a long way and they come and they find a sign posted on the door that class was canceled. Because if you have an established way of doing that, then it's on them if they didn't, you know, check Blackboard or whatever it was. So just please make sure that you do that. Communication, just very important, and we all appreciate that communication. Let's see, withdrawals. There is a student-initiated withdrawal date. That would be one of those important critical dates that you want to put in your syllabus. But you want to make sure that students withdraw. They have the option to withdraw from a course up until that date on their own. okay? And there's nothing that we can do about that. We hate for them to do it. I would encourage you to talk with them, see if there's something you can do on your end. If they're feeling overwhelmed or something has happened and you can work with them and maybe extend an assignment deadline or something to keep them engaged and in the class, I would encourage you to do that. But we realize that students will make their own decisions and they will withdraw. Anything after that date requires the vice president's approval, okay? And it would have to be extenuating circumstances, so they would have to appeal to Brian or to me beyond that date. What I would encourage you to point out to them as they bring you the withdrawal form is just say to them, you know, if you have financial aid, I would encourage you to go to the financial aid office to see how this impacts you, if at all, because they would be very surprised probably at finding out that depending on what date they withdraw in a term, they may actually owe money back. And that may influence whether or not they want to look at the other options, because then that can impact their financial aid in the next term. Okay? So very important that, that they understand the implications of the decision they're making to withdraw. Tony?
Can I just make a comment about
Sure.
withdrawal? Students have to come to their advisor to get advisor signature on withdrawal. Part of that process is we make them go directly to financial aid. Registrar won't take a withdrawal form without financial aid signature. So that guarantees that they've checked with financial aid. And another problem that I see as an advisor in the withdrawal system is that students think they can withdraw online because they can add and drop online. So we'll get students after the withdrawal date to call us and come see us and say, but I've been trying for 3 days and the computer won't let me. Please make sure your students know they cannot withdraw online. They have to come see their advisor.
That's a great point. So you might want to, as you go over your syllabus that first night, and even put a note in there that, you know, withdrawals must be done on campus. They need to come see an advisor, okay? That would help them definitely. Okay.
Drop is during DropAdd for 5 days. After that, it's called withdrawal. DropAdd is the first week of classes, the first 5 days of class, okay? And they can add and drop as often as they want. Withdrawal is totally different. Withdrawal says they've attended at least one time, and then they can no longer drop once they've attended. It's a withdrawal. And they don't get any money back. Yeah, and in fact, they could possibly, if they receive federal financial aid, they could very likely owe money, and they don't even realize that. A few years ago, the feds changed a lot of the rules about getting financial aid. We didn't used to worry about that if they attended. So be it, if they decided not to come back, but now it has implications for the students. So we're trying to educate them. Okay, and then just one other thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brian, is please make sure that as adjuncts, you schedule 30 minutes of time before class or after class to meet with students. You, this is part of your requirement when you accept teaching a course at Florida Gateway, and that is your time to interact with students and deal with any issues that they may have and bring to you, or you may, you know, call on a student and say, I'd like to meet you before class or after class or whatever, and follow up that way. So definitely take the initiative. You don't have to wait on them, and we would certainly appreciate it if you would do that. Yes, Michelle.
30 minutes per class day or 30 minutes per week?
It's 30 minutes per class, so you would either come early 30 minutes or stay after 30 minutes. A lot of times, you know, students will come to you if you have break and that sort of thing, so but please, we want to make sure students' needs are met.
Let me clarify that a little further because I'm still confused.
Okay.
I've been told 2 different ways.
Okay.
Okay, let's say I have class from 10 to 11.
Okay.
On Monday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Do I have to give 30 minutes on Monday and 30 minutes on Wednesday, or 30 minutes total for Monday and Wednesday?
My faculty stay for 30 minutes each.
Okay.
Each day. Yes.
Okay.
You want to have access.
Like I do mine that since I'm not on campus, I do 15 minutes before class, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, you can do 15 and 15. Yes, if that's what you're meaning. Yes, you can do 15 and 15. Absolutely. Yes.
Is there any kind of rule for online
besides just being available by email, do we have to have any specific time we have to be like virtually available?
Yes, I would say you, at least once a week, you would want to have 30 minutes of time where they know if they email you during that 30-minute window, there's going to be someone there that will respond immediately as though they were on at a campus course. Okay. Good questions. Okay. Brian? I'm just going to leave this up here.
Right here. All right. Well, a few more items. First of all, with respect to responding to students, one of the challenges that I know some of our faculty have is Netiquette. You know, not the faculty themselves, but the students. They're experiencing problems with their students understanding how to write emails and that sort of thing. And we encourage you, when they are, to take some time to maybe educate them in the proper way to communicate with you. If they're frustrated, that's probably not the time they want to send you an email. You know, and it might help if you take the initiative of letting them know that. You know, if you're frustrated, you're feeling tense or whatever, take some time, breathe in, breathe out before you send that email to me. Because what I've noticed is sometimes students, when they're feeling that way, they want to attack, you know, and they're not meaning anything personal to you. They're just frustrated. And if you can kind of mentor them, that helps them along and with learning how to communicate online, because it's very challenging to communicate feeling, emotion. It's sort of a flat medium, and you know how we can take things the wrong way when we see it written and there's no emoticon or anything. So showing them how to use a smiley face, you know, how to remind them, okay, I'm not, you know, I'm telling you I want you to do something, but I'm not yelling at you. You know, if you can mirror that for them, they might take some of your example and give it back to you. Use only approved textbooks in the courses. We have had a time or two where we're required to post the textbook usage, what we're using for our textbooks, online by statute, state statute, and we've had a time or two where we've gotten mixed up. Well-meaning faculty members are selecting their textbook, and then we haven't approved it through the textbook committee. VP Hickman and I are both on that committee, and it's very important that we get the form and that sort of thing. So check with your coordinator before you do any new addition or textbook changes, just so that we can be sure that you're using the appropriate textbook. Most of you know what textbook you're using, but if you're teaching in an area where there's no full-time faculty, sometimes that has a tendency to get a little messed up. So there are some statements that we want on all syllabi. And they're on this sheet here, and you probably, you may have seen this handout. Now what we will do is, I will send out and copy VP Hickman. We actually sent this out to faculty, these statements. But if you don't have them, a correct version of them, we want to make sure that you use the most current version. It's important for a variety of reasons, but if you'll make sure that that is updated on your syllabus, that's very important for us.
Question on that. Mm-hmm. Last semester on the, I believe it was the academic integrity, mm-hmm. we had 2 paragraphs, so this year we're just sticking with this 1 paragraph?
I believe so. I believe it's pared down some, yes, okay. That's correct.
Because it was a big paragraph,
mm-hmm.
and then just a small one.
Right. Yes.
Last semester, there was a textbook available in the bookstore for my class.
Uh-huh.
For the ones that wanted to purchase it, but it was available online to get it. And I asked over there why, and they said that the book hadn't been approved by the textbook committee yet. So that's why they didn't have them in the bookstore for purchase.
Okay. Well, we will discuss that one. There must have been something that fell through there. he asked about a textbook that wasn't in the bookstore, and that's why I was covering the textbook, making sure we get a textbook approval form. That go through your coordinator and make sure, sometimes the communication there is, we want to make sure to communicate with you, and if you will, check with us to ensure that you're using the correct textbook with your coordinator, director, that level. Okay, let's see. We have in each classroom a phone, and it's on the wall, and there may not be one in here. Yeah, true. We don't use this as a classroom, but in your classrooms, you should notice a phone on the wall. That's not to call Aunt Sally. That is, if you pick that phone up, it's going to dial security. Now, sometimes you will feel a little, maybe you could, not often, but you could have a belligerent student or maybe someone who's visiting a student in your class and you're a little concerned, what is the safety here? It doesn't happen very often, but if it does, pick up the phone and it will automatically dial security. Or a medical emergency. Right, or a medical emergency. And there are these AED, they're dummy-proof shock. What's it called, David? What are these things called that shock your chest? Huh? Defibrillator. Yeah, I couldn't get it. And they basically, what they are is you literally pull this thing off the wall, and if somebody's having a heart attack, and this has happened to me on this campus, so I know how personal and how much you want to help someone. But you pull these off the wall, they literally, you can attach them if you think someone's having a heart attack, and it will tell you automatically, push a button on there. It's a little easy 1, 2, 3 step, and it will do all the work for you. But you might look for those just to be familiar with where they are, because you could have a student that happens to, and that's why we have them in the buildings. I think every building has one. And so look, before you start teaching your class, see if you can locate the one in your building, and just know where that is. Okay. We also are hiring a director of security, and we haven't had one previously. We've had security wrapped up in other offices, but this person is going to come in with some knowledge about specific ways to be successful in safety for our college campus. So you may see a few changes. You'll know what that's about. We are all of us aiming at safety for all of us. If you feel uncomfortable at any point or need any assistance, you're concerned about a student, writing from a student indicates maybe a violent tendency. Don't ignore those things. Share those immediately, because many times they're not bluffing. And what we don't want to do is assume that they're just a teenager or something. If they are showing something that you're concerned about, and many of you have done this, and we're appreciative, when you see something that's of concern, you've sent it to us, and we're thankful, because most often those students are in desperate need of help, and you sure don't want to be the recipient if they are needing that help and not getting it. Yes?
Do we conceal carry in the classroom?
That one I definitely, that one, I don't think the law on guns on campus, Tracy, do you remember this? It did not pass, so, yeah. So you should have no guns on campus, and your students shouldn't either. Okay. Well, that would go to like your coordinator, director. If you see have a concern for a student, they will keep it in privacy, and they will take it up the line. It'll generally come to Tracy or to me, and we will move it over to student services. There's the vice president of student services, Linda Crowley, and she winds up handling those issues.
But also the college sends emails when they see wolves and things around. You'll get an email saying there's maybe something going on. Yes. Construction crews, different people, different activities that
yes.
you may want to.
Right, we'll send out a general email to let you know. Yes.
When you pick up the emergency phone, do you have to speak, or does it locate you by picking it up?
They know where you are, but it's a good idea. I mean, the whole purpose of it is really so you can talk to the person and tell them what's the issue. So just hold on for them and talk to them. But yes, I mean, they would know where that's coming from. The Blackboard and Collaborate have some updates. Blackboard, you won't feel so much the update, but Collaborate, you probably will. If any of you use Collaborate, it's an online way to teach. It's a synchronous instrument that we use for teaching, and they've done some great updates to it. And basically what it is they don't use Java anymore, so it's going to be much easier to use Collaborate. It's a way to, it's web conferencing is what it is. So anything on your desk, if you have an article that you want them to read or a math problem, anything that's on your desktop, they can see. And they can also see you and talk to you, interact with you. So it's just like a live instructional tool. And all of you have that capability. You all have access to Collaborate if you want to do a session. So that's available to everyone. And that's review sessions you might do. You might do a conference with a student. You can set it up, send them an email. They just click on that link, and it just opens you up. And you can do these from home. You can do this from the classroom. Troy, any?
I was just going to say, I'm Troy Appling, by the way. I'm a coordinator for instructional design. One of my jobs is to help you learn how to use Blackboard and Collaborate as an effective tool. So if you've got something like Collaborate that you're interested in using, but you're not sure how, shoot me an email, give me a call. I'll be glad to sit down with you. And one of the nice things about Collaborate is it works for you as well. So if you have a question about Blackboard, I can actually set up a Collaborate session with you, and you can, from the comfort of your own home, sit there and I will walk you through Blackboard and we can set things up that way.
Yeah. Troy.appling, A-P-P-L-I-N-G, at fgc.edu. Many of you know that we have 4 bachelor's programs. 3 are underway. 2 in VP Hickman's area, which is BSN in nursing and the early childhood education we have, and then 1 in my area, which is the Bachelor's of Applied Science in Water Resources Management. And so students are able to go all the way through and get their bachelor's degree with us now, and we're very happy about that, excited about that, and those are 3 programs that are growing. And then there's the 4th, which is Industrial Logistics, and that will be coming on hopefully next fall. So hopefully. And V.P. Hickman, you want to do the rest of these?
Okay. Parking decals. Yes.
About Blackboard, in case you didn't read your email yet, they need to make their courses available again.
Okay.
Because there was an update today, so if you made it available.
Sandy's sharing, wants to make sure that you know that if you have already made your course available, there was a Blackboard update which undid your making the course available, so you need to do that again. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Today.
It happened today.
Yeah.
Today.
Just getting frantic emails from students.
Yes, and please remember to make your course available. Here's what the student, this is what happens. Students don't see the course when they log into Blackboard in their list of options to choose from until you make the course available. So when they don't see a course there that they know they've paid for, they've had financial aid applied, they've gone out and bought the textbook, they get into panic mode.
And
So, and they're calling all around campus, I paid for this course, I should be in it. And so please make sure that you make your course available. We would like for you to do it on the first day of classes, which is officially tomorrow. We don't, I mean, that's the start of the term. We really don't like you to make them available prior to that. So the college campus opens at 8 o'clock. It's nice if you could make the course available and start the college online courses the same as the traditional campus courses. It's just a nice continuity there, okay? But if you have already made them available, you will need to do it again. Yes?
If it's set up to become available tomorrow, do we have to redo that?
I would check it because the updates probably reset everything and took all that away. I would recheck it just to make sure. Okay, parking decals. If you are a new adjunct and you come to campus to teach, you need to make sure that you have a decal. You will have to come during college hours to get that decal and make sure that it is clearly displayed on your mirror, your rearview mirror, or on your dashboard. But please make note that you do not, or students do not, have to have a decal any longer. We no longer require student decals, only faculty and staff, and they are required in order for you to park in faculty and staff parking, okay? So if students come to you and say, hey, where do I go get a decal? You can tell them you don't need to do that anymore. That occurred this summer. We did away with it this summer, but it's still, the information is trickling out. All right, the next thing I'd like for you to make sure that you do is please protect student information. You need to make sure that if you're talking to someone on the phone or in person, that you are talking to the right person. Unless an individual has information on file releasing access to their educational data, it is protected under FERPA, and we do not have a right to release it without that signature and authorization being on file. And it can be very specific. They may give you authorization to release grades only, or attendance, or just whatever they want. Maybe it's looking at your final grades. They can be very specific, or they may say they can have access to anything, okay? So please make sure that you are talking to the person that whose information you are sharing, or you have a copy of that release. Please don't take their word for it either. Oh yeah, we've got that on file in the registrar's office. You need to stop, call the registrar's office, and make sure that you get that information. And because some of you are here when the college is closed, those offices are closed, you need to communicate with that individual that you'd be happy to provide that information if or when they are able to the registrar's office is able to provide you with that documentation. Okay? Yes?
If the student's on the line, can they give verbal permission to talk to their parent if they're on the same line?
I would be careful about that because that can come back to get you later on. I would say, I appreciate that you're giving me that authorization right now, but I will have to ask you to come to the registrar's office and complete the form. And then going forward, I'll be happy to share whatever information you are authorizing me to release to whomever. And they can name specific people.
Okay, will the registrar office give us that form, or do we have to call them find, or what?
The registrar's office will provide the student with the blank form to complete, and they can do it right there. And they will get you a copy to show that that has been done and that you can keep it on file. Okay?
In line with the FERPA, because I'm teaching online.
Okay.
Will I require the students have to communicate with me via their FGC email?
Yes, and I would encourage, whether you're a traditional classroom, hybrid, or fully online, you should communicate through the Wolves accounts. You should use your FGC account, and the student should be using their Wolves account, their FGC account. That's just the best thing to do. And let me remind you that emails are public information. You should not send grades over email. anybody can have the password login and go in and open an email and see someone's grades that they were not authorized to see. So be very cautious about those types of interactions.
Okay, so when we are doing online teaching and a student would like to discuss their grade, the best would be to set up a collaborate session?
You can do a collaborate session,
And
absolutely.
that's okay to discuss there, but
Yes.
not a discussion of grades and emails.
No, you should not. And you should, what you can do is pull up their Blackboard account. Tell them they can log in and open up Blackboard and go to their grades, and then they're looking at it, and you're looking at it on your end, and then you can have a conversation about it.
Okay. But
Okay.
no commentary about their grades. I mean, we could put some things like, hey, you know, I'm concerned or blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
No specific grade.
exactly.
Like, like, can you be clear about that? Because I've worked at different places. Some are very lax and some are very strict.
Well, I would just say you don't want to say, oh, you made a 95A, you know, you made a 57F. You don't want to put grades in there. You know, you want to keep it very general. And even when you're leaving a message, when you're leaving a phone message, when I call, and I call students, you know, about sometimes not good things and sometimes, you know, wonderful things, I just leave my name, my number, and I'm maybe returning their call. I'm very vague. And I just identify myself, you know, Tracy Hickman, Florida Gateway College. I'm returning your call. My number is, and then please call me at your earliest convenience. Keep things vague and make sure that they interact with you, and who you're interacting with is that person. It's just, it's safer. We have had students who have, you know, not been happy about communications because they feel like it's too open. And so we need to honor that. And you never know when you're talking to one of those individuals or something goes out, sometimes until they're right in front of you. So the best thing to do is to err on the side of caution and be reserved.
In using a rubric on that, normally I put the grade on that and email it back to them. You're saying not to do that.
You're showing a grade. I would. Yeah. Well, can you do that in Blackboard? Okay, so you would send it all through Blackboard where it's secure, where they have their login. That's about as secure as we can get.
So you're saying email through Blackboard?
Yes. Yeah, through your FGC, which is through Blackboard.
Tracy, we're also hoping that you're using Blackboard as a grade program.
Yeah.
Grade book. That's up to date.
So that is,
at any point they want to see it. That's good.
So if you click on their name in your grade book, email. So I send an email through that. It is secure.
In Blackboard, what you do is you can do a Word document, you, what's it called, the commentaries, and then you post it and write it where when they submit the assignment through Blackboard, then you have that access. At least that's how it was at FSU.
I wish Troy had not gone because he probably could tell us about. Is he back in here? You want to keep everything contained in Blackboard. I'm sorry that I cannot speak exactly to those steps, but you don't want to do anything outside of Blackboard. Okay, and I would ask you to email Troy, talk to your immediate supervisors, the directors, executive directors, faculty who may also teach in your department, because they will be glad to help you and make sure that you stay on track with that. Okay?
Quick question. Can we ask them in the beginning that if you want to grade, I mean, that we are posting and everything, but can we ask for their permission just like we do with the listening information on the first one? Can we say if you want to know what your grade is through email, then I have to send it back to your email? Is that okay with you?
I would not. I would say your grades are posted in Blackboard. You go to Blackboard to see, yeah, you want to go to the grades. I would not get into emailing them. I really wouldn't. The last thing you want is a public records request, and it's full of grades. Okay. Let's see. At some point this fall or in the spring, you will likely be visited by a coordinator. We are doing faculty evaluations for adjuncts. We do those once a year. So if you don't see someone this fall, you're teaching again in the spring, then you will likely, see them then. Of course, we may miss you, and it's not intentional if you teach in the fall and we don't get to you in the fall and then you don't teach in the spring. But I just want you to be aware that you may have someone come in to do an evaluation, and this is just part of our SACS accreditation and our requirements. So please don't take it personally or think, what am I doing wrong? It's not anything like that. It's just part of our process. Next, I would like for you to know about the professional development opportunities that we have added this year. Brian and I have joined our finances to purchase Magna Professional Development online. And this is just 20-minute segments of professional development opportunities for you. I would encourage you, if you work in an accredited program, because professional development, even for part-time faculty, is important. If you maybe feel like you need to grow in a certain area, for example, classroom management, or maybe integrating technology, you can go on the Magna website and you can seek out specific topics and watch those little mini-series, if you will. And we hope that they benefit you. We don't know a lot about this particular opportunity, but it was something that was shared with us. Brian, said, "Hey, Tracy, this looks pretty good. You want to go in together on this, and let's get some feedback from the faculty," and that's what we're doing. We would really honestly like for you to take advantage of this opportunity and let us know if this is something that's really good or not really good, and we don't need to be wasting our money on it. We would like some feedback. You want to add to it?
Tracy, we also, one of the things that we did, we purchased an integration with Blackboard. So these courses, you will actually see the ability to go straight from your Blackboard when you're in Blackboard, and all of you, whether you're teaching traditional or online, have a Blackboard shell for your courses. So in Blackboard, you will see Magna, and you can click on that, and you can see the topics it's tremendous what's out there, and they're by experts in the field. I did several of the trainings and was very pleased. They not only have videos, but they also have accompanying documents that are research type documents that help you think through. There's an example, for instance, how to work with a student with Asperger's syndrome. How to develop an online course that mirrors current pedagogical practices and online instruction. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there for traditional, hybrid, and online. It's very good stuff. So, excited about it.
Now just some fun stuff to close out, make you aware of some construction that's going on here in our facilities. We have gutted the cafeteria, and we have also employed a new manager, and the food service will be done internally. It will not be contracted out any longer. Phil Crenshaw is our new food service director, and if you don't recognize the name, I'll help you. He's the owner of Fish Heads. So he is going to be handling our meals now here at the college, and we're extremely excited about that. We're also excited about the fact that they gutted the cafeteria and are completely remodeling the inside, thanks to Vice President Steve Benson and making these things happen. And they'll have salad bars, they'll have lunch. We're going to be easing into these things, but it's not going to be anything like it was in the past. So very exciting. And we will have, for those of you who are here in the evening, we will have opportunities for, I guess, sandwiches and that sort of thing in the vending machine. So there will be more options for you if you're here in the evening. But again, it's a work in progress. We ask for your patience, but we think that you'll be very pleased with the end result.
Do we have a projected date for opening?
Well, we're hoping no later than October sometime. Yeah. That we're hesitant to say a date because, we don't want it not happen, but we're hoping October at the very latest.
I would like to know, when I last year, they gave us this whole like brochure, because it's huge there, right? And they said, if you have students with this problem, this is who they, and so they had the dean of students, they had counseling, they had the different things for, you know, domestic violence and all these different millions of things. So we're smaller here, so I would like to know where to send students depending on the issue. Is that information in here somewhere?
Yes, but I will tell you the short of it is if you have a student that you feel maybe they're going through some difficult times, they're depressed, they have some other sort of issues, we have Baycare services, which is, we can get you that information. It is a card that has a 1-800 number on it. They get 3 free counseling sessions, and they can continue on through Baycare if they need additional counseling. I would encourage you, as Brian addressed earlier, if you have a student who is, you feel like disturbed, has some serious issues, maybe is drawing things that's, you know, bothers you, writing stories and things that are disturbing to you, don't hesitate to follow up with Dr. Linda Crowley in Student Services, but also the immediate notification needs to go to the executive director, the director, the coordinator, whoever you report to directly. Communicate with them right away. And we can follow up in ways that are, you know, they're not intrusive, they're unoffensive, but we don't want someone to go without help that they may need and just not know how to go about asking for it. And we're not good at asking for help as human beings. So it's just a good thing for you to do. And Brian, will you help us remember to send that Baycare number out? You can include that in your syllabus and you can go over that also. Feel free to make students aware, because then if they know the option is there, they can do it on their own, and if they feel overwhelmed or are dealing with personal issues. We also have a new math lab in Building 9, another exciting renovation. And you're going to see as the year progresses more things happening around the campus to our classrooms and our labs, and it's all very exciting. And the last thing I think I'll share with you is our nursing simulation wing. We took one of the wings in the old dorm and renovated all the dorm rooms so that we have a control room where a nurse faculty member is behind a one-way mirror, and they are running a simulation through the computer with the students that are in the next room and can't see them, and they are in charge of their own simulation. And it's amazing. And then on the other side of that room is the other half of the clinical group that's not directly involved in the simulation, and they're making notes about decisions that are good, decisions they would have done differently, and then the two groups merge together and discuss the scenario from their different perspectives. So it's absolutely an awesome experience for them. We have 5 of these setups in one wing. I would encourage you, we had an open house last week, but if we can get it open officially and start having students there, we will make sure that we make you all aware. So if you have the time to stop by and walk through, I think you would be absolutely amazed. We used some of the Department of Labor H-1B grant money to purchase human simulators. So we have human patient simulators, and they do amazing things, and technology is just awesome. So I think that we concluded everything. We again just want to thank you for your time this evening. We know that this is yet another time for you away from your family. We appreciate all that you do, and please feel free to contact us anytime during the semester. Any of us on staff and administration want to make sure that you have what you need, because you are vital to the success of our students. Thank you.